And that's another thing I don't fucking understand. Or never did understand. Never understood. And still don't stand. I don't stand under it. I don't stand over it. Just because I stand over you don't mean you understand me. That's typical cats. Is fucking orange you glad that I fucking piss in my own mouth sometimes? That, have you heard that joke in heavy inverted commas, the most inverted of commas? The joke as I heard it was knock knock. It's a knock knock joke, so I mean already you know it's going to be a fucking classic. Ah, hey, check it out, playing the classics all night here on ewan FM. Suck a dick. It was knock knock. Who's there? Banana. Banana who? Knock knock. Who's there? Banana. Banana who? Knock knock. Who's there? Banana. Banana. And you can carry that on forever and ever. And then eventually the person says, knock knock. Who's there? Orange. Oh, orange who? Orange you glad I didn't say banana. I know. Fucking hilarious. See, I heard that when I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old. And at first I was just baffled. I was like, wait, what? I don't... maybe there's something I'm not quite understanding here. What? And then, you know, I grew up a bit and I thought back and I was like, oh, it's still fucking stupid. Orange you glad I did, especially if you're in England. Because, I mean, I only bring it up because I saw some fucking, you know, on Twitter, I follow a bunch of, like, porn ladies, you know, OnlyFans girls and such. And one of them had a picture with their bum out and they were wearing orange underwear and the caption was like, I didn't read all of it because I got sick to my stomach with this fucking caption. And the caption was like, orange you glad I've got my bum out. It's sunny, so I've got my bum out. Or something like that. And I had to close the app because I was like, orange you fucking... Fuck, that doesn't make any sense! Like, I get it. I do get it. Orange underwear, orange you glad, because but like if I guess if you say it in like an American accent, you can kind of be like, orange you glad, like, aren't you glad you fucking poke your butt? Or orange you glad, because they pronounce orange like this. Without the A, orange. They say orange. Orange. Ah, orange is my favourite colour. Because they're all uneducated idiots over there in the great old land of the US. So I can see how it, in a certain accent, it maybe could sound more appropriate. Orange you glad I fucking am a massive bellend. But especially in England, when I was a kid hearing that, in England where they pronounce shit properly, orange you glad I didn't say... No, I'm not orange. I don't know what you mean. I mean, I know what you mean, but it doesn't make sense. God, come on now. And I think at the time of like being 5 or 6 or whenever the fart it was, like I say, I was more confused or like baffled than anything else. And I know I can pinpoint the exact point, the exact time that I became enraged by it was when I think I might have been 11 or 12 or something. And my really cool, my swell, cool happening older brother, he was a bit, the awkward middle child, bit of a bad un. Oh, the rebellious. Oh, he's got tattoos. You should see his tattoos. They're really cool. He's got, and I'm not lying, he's got an eagle tattoo. He's got a tiger tattoo. He's got a tribal band around his upper arm tattoo. Oh, he plays a guitar. So he's got a guitar tattoo. Brilliant. Bloody brilliant. He was a really cool, couple of years older than me, so, just into his teen years, like sort of 13, 14 years old or something. Hanging with the bad kids. He was, with the wrong crowd, man. And he had this friend, can't remember the kid's name, but he was an absolute fucking knob end. Even then, like, I think I knew a lot of swear words from a young age. I grew up in fucking, ganglands, estates and shit. Where swear words were sort of the language you used to communicate in those sorts of places. So I was up on the swears of the time and stuff. So I don't think I was creative or funny enough to call him a fucking knob end, but I was aware straight away from the first second I saw him, he was a fucking knob end. This guy that my brother was friends with for some fuck reason. He had whatever clothes, but then like a big bomber jacket, and he wore his baseball cap backwards, but like trying to be cool. He had big rings on, and you see a 14-year-old wearing like a big puffy jacket, a baseball cap on backwards, big chunky rings, and he like walked like this, like one of the fucking Gallagher brothers from Oasis. Absolute fucking knob, proper knob. And, he was obviously a cool, bad kid in school or whatever. Ooh. So you can see why my brother was attracted to him in terms of someone to be friends with, and probably someone whose penis he would have put in his mouth, because he's a big old gay lord. So then I was sat just being a little shitty Ewan, probably drawing fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, in the front room when he came in. Like, Ross brought him over. Oh, fuck, I said my brother's name. I try not to do that. My brother brought his friend over to our home. So he was in our front room while I was drawing. I guess it was just the three of us in the front room. And then I think the kid was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You drawing? Oh, that's pretty good. You're pretty cool drawing. Hey, do you want to hear a joke?" So this cool kid goes, "Do you want to hear a joke?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was too young to really know. I mean, I could tell he was a wrong'un, a knob, a fucking cockweasel, a pissant, a shit bandit. But I didn't really have my wits about me to be like, "No, you fuck, leave me alone. I don't want to hear a joke. Go away." So I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to hear a big boy joke." So here's the joke. This is what this is all leading up to. The joke, this absolute fucking sweltering great bellend told, fucking 11, 12-year-old Ewan, was, and this was the joke. The cool bad boy fucking I'm so great and old and bad and hilarious joke was, I got lost in the woods and I had to use my compass to get out. That was the joke. That was it. And then I had that almost exact reaction of just sort of, not stunned, but just silence of like, okay. And I wasn't entirely aware of what cum was at that age, but I knew the word. I knew the word "cum," and I knew vaguely it was something to do with sex. I think I knew it was like came out of your pee pee. So I had a basic understanding of, jizz. So I stare at him blankly, like, okay, that's a joke, I guess. And he goes, "Oh, you don't get it. Compass, like I had to use my cum pass. I had to pass my cum to get out." And then I think at the time I probably went, "Oh yeah, now I get it." But even at the time, my actual thought was, "What? That's not a joke. That's not even. It's not funny. It's not a clever, funny thing to say, and not in like the English teacher. It's not big and it's not clever kind of way. But it's not like a clever play on words. It's not. It's just. That doesn't even make fucking. I got lost in the woods and I had to use my cum pass to get. I got lost in the woods, and I had to come everywhere, to not be lost in the woods any. What? I remember it so clearly because it was like that fucking mind-bogglingly fucking stupid that my brain obviously went, "Whoa, file this one away for later. We're going to have to ruminate on this one. This is going to require some thought to figure out what the fuck this idiot was on about." And to this day, I'm just like, what the fucking hell? It just goes to show you the fucking calibre of people my brother decided to make friends with. Oh, fucking great. I lost in the woods, I had to use my cum. I got lost in the woods, I had to use my cum to get out again. Did you get it? I had to fucking cum. I had to jizz everywhere. I got a spunk all over the fucking woodland creatures and shit. I had to fuck a squirrel. I got lost in the woods and I had to fuck a squirrel to get out. Well, I didn't have to. But, I thought, while I'm here, I'll get my fucking dick wet in a fucking little squirrel. Because I can't get any from my wife. Unless I fucking beat her into it. It's, it's valid in its own way. But, just what the... It does... So shit like that, it just bugs the piss out of my mouth of orange you glad. No, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Lost in the woods, had to use my compass. Yeah, I know the word compass. You would have that make the actual statement. I got lost in the woods and had to use my compass to get out. That's perfectly reasonable. A compass is a tool designed to fucking orienteering. It's a thing. You use a compass and you plot it against a map and you find your direction and you get yourself out of a situation in which you are lost topographically or whatever. I don't know if that's technically the right term, but you get what I'm fucking saying. But you can't just say, oh, because the word compass has got the word cum at the beginning, which it kind of hasn't. It sounds the same, but obviously in terms of spelling, it's, not the same. It's isn't it? It's compass. Compost. I'd use my compost to get... and that's fucking stupid, in essence. That's what I'm saying there. That's fucking stupid, and I hate it, and I'll tolerate it no more, no longer will I tolerate stupid shit. I mean, I know for a fact, actually, I've done that in almost every video I've made. If I say a word if I was to say the word compass in general conversation during one of these videos, I'd go, and so I had my compass, I'd do that because, funny. But that's just me humorously commenting on the first three letters of the word compass are very, very similar sounding to come. Would be my point there. I'm not trying to make it like some hilarious, dirty joke. Get ready for this one, lads. I'd use my fucking cab to get out of the fucking forest because I was lost in the fucking forest, so I had to fucking use my cab to get out. I gotta use my fucking cab to get out of the fucking forest. But they got use my cab to get out of the fucking forest. That's what I like, innit? It's what we like, lads. We like fucking cum and covered in birds. Fucking a nice shaved fucking vag, and I put my fucking dick in it, and then I come, and then I'm fucking like, yeah, you fucking come, but I fucked a bird, did you? Yeah, it was fucking great. I fucking come all over her fucking tits. It was fucking great. And then I watched football, and then I fucking come again while I was watching football. Because football makes me come, because I'm a fucking knobhead, and I got a fucking -12 IQ, and I fucking drink for fun. We do for fun. Oh, I'm gonna fucking get fucking drunk and fucking watch football and talk about motorbikes. Fucking, hey, go lad. Fucking hate them so much. Fucking. I don't want to be classy. Again, I grew up in poor areas, like council-funded living arrangements. Lots of broken windows, fucking little gangs of lads running around. I maybe have mentioned parts of it before. He was my older, so not the older brother who had the knob friend, but my older brother. He had a friend who lived just down the road from us, who ended up becoming my friend because he was really good at drawing. Good, like 4 years older than me, but you know, I'm wise beyond my years. So we got on just swellingly. But he was really good at drawing, and then he realised I liked drawing, and then so we sort of became friends through drawing. But so that friend, he had an older brother also, who was a bit of an odd character, dressed quite funky, had like a weird cool bike that he worked on and stuff, dyed hair, skinny jeans and shit. And in that sort of area, that's like a beacon to those sorts of fucking cunts that live in those areas. And he had his head caved in and almost died. Like he was walking home one night, and then in like this sort of park area near a bench, some chavs or fucking whoever cracked his head open with like a pipe or a bottle or something, and he was in hospital for a long time. And yeah, there was like a danger of him not making it. And these are the areas I grew up in. So it's easy to be like, classist is what I'm essentially trying to talk my way out of appearing classist. Because, the working class that's how I was raised. Well, not how I was raised, but it's the environment I was raised in. And so I don't like to be like, oh, the working class are a bunch of shit. But they're a bunch of shit. They're a bunch of fucking shit. And I hate them. And I had every opportunity to sort of be that. To be the fucking like, go son, yeah, get in. I played football as a young'un, as a kid at school, but like, because I was a kid at school, it's like, what else am I going to do? Just fucking kick the ball around and it's fun. It's not like, oh, I love football. So I tried watching football as a kid and it was the most boring fucking thing I've ever done in my life. But just working class people are such fucking wanks. Oh my god! And that's a huge sweeping generalisation. Of course, I guess what I mean is like British lad culture is impossibly toxic for what it is. You know, the standard is to be racist, bigoted, fucking women beating, women hating, lads, football, sports, US, though those, the people I make fun of all the time because I'm better than. But I could have easily fallen into that sort of life. I bared traits of it now and again, but I consider myself to be fairly well spoken now. And, I don't like to say I'm clearly far, far smarter than all of those people, but I'm clearly far, far smarter than all of those people. I try not to be a fucking cock and ball. It's not always successful, but I try. And maybe that's what makes me different, is that I actually try not to be a cock. I have this one particular example from fairly recent years, which I've probably said before, but I'll say it again just because it's vaguely relevant to the rant I'm apparently on. God knows how long I've been going on and on about this so far already. When I was working in the shoe store, in the stockroom, we'd have to go down to the loading bay to, the working class industrial area, the loading bay where the trucks come in and they drop off deliveries. So we'd get all the boxes of shoes, bring them up on the freight elevator, like the big, double door thing with the iron gate, and you pull it and it clangs open, and then you pull it and it goes clangs shut again. And then one day, me and my colleague went down. So there's two freight elevators. We go down in the same one with trolleys to take the boxes up, and then we each go up into separate elevators to, with a trolley each full of shoes, which is relevant. The point is, one of the freight elevators stank of piss one day, and it was it smells a bit. It wasn't it smells a bit of wee in here. It fucking reeked headache-inducing, strong stench of piss in one of these freight elevators. And then you could kind of see in the corner where there was some discoloration, and you could see, someone's pissed in this freight elevator. And I think eventually it got cleaned out, but then maybe less than a month later it happened again, where it just reeked of piss in this one elevator. And then, which led to a sign having to be put up in the elevator stating, these elevators are not toilets, please don't treat them as such. There are toilets nearby, you can ask someone for directions to them if you so choose. Just please do not use the elevator. And that is pinpoint exactly my problem with those sorts of fucking Neanderthal working class types, lads, or fucking just lazy cunts, I guess, is the ultimate issue, is just lazy fucking cunts who don't care about anyone but themselves. That would be in that area where there are toilets close by. And it's not some homeless person came in to have a piss in the freight elevator, because the only people who have access to that area is the people who work there. So some cock, some cunt, delivery person or whatever, thought, I need a piss, can't be fucked to go to the toilet, I'll just piss in the corner of this elevator that's used by, I don't know, maybe hundreds of people on a daily basis, to the point where they had to put up a sign to say, please do not piss in the elevator. That's where I worked. I worked in a place that had to put up a sign that said, please don't piss in the elevators. Fucking marvellous. And I don't know, but I know it's the exact sort of person that is, yeah, work on, mate, you fucking what, mate? That sort of, you just know. You just fucking know if you talk to them. And they probably, it's not fair, this isn't fair to say at all, but they probably pronounce their R's as W's. So they'd say, "Oh, what's wrong? You don't even know what's wrong, mate. What are you talking about? That's not white, that. It's not white at all. It's fucking disgusting, mate. I was just going to have a piss. Didn't know where the toilet was. Didn't want to ask directions, because I don't know where anything is. So I just fucking take a piss. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck." Fucking stupid, awful, god-awful cocks, a lot of them. Oh, shall we look at an art book? Oh, let's take a look at an art book. Oh, I've looked at this a few times before in several other videos, one specifically Simon Bisley related, and today I'm just going to look at the Simon Bisley comics in here again, just because I want to, and you can't tell me what to do, because you're not real, you're not here, no one's here, I'm talking to myself, it's brilliant. I get such impassioned speeches about my hatred of fucking lad culture, and when I say working class, don't get all like, "Oh, you're the working class are the backbone of our..." Yeah, I know. I mean specifically that aspect of like working class lad culture. Because they're never fucking executives, are they? They're working class. They work in fucking building sites. There you go. Hello, feminists. They're the cunts that catcall you. "Go on, love, get your tits out. Oi, oi, get your fucking fanny out, love. I'll give you a poke." It's them. Those are the exact people. This is Judge Dredd. This is Heavy Metal Dread. A bunch of Judge Dredd strips, more sort of violent and adult than the ones you typically find in 2000 AD. For the non-Brits, 2000 AD is a sort of larger format UK comic weekly. They have sort of 6-page strips. Judge Dredd is always like at the front, and then a bunch of others. Slane has been in there, bunch of others. And Judge Dredd also has his own separate Judge Dredd magazine, because Judge Dredd lives in Mega City 1. So it's the Judge Dredd magazine. It's like a just Judge Dredd stories, and they do get a little bit more sort of hardcore and adult in there. I don't know if they're quite as badass as they used to be, but that's what they do. So this is a bunch of strips by various artists, mostly Bisley, that were printed in the pages of that magazine. Possibly in Heavy Metal Mag. I'm not sure if there is a connection to Heavy Metal Magazine, or if it is just the magazine, because it's a 2000 AD publication, so I don't know. But it's got a bunch of Bisley comic strips, all like 6-page little mini Judge Dredd strips that are all, you know, kind of silly, but bit fun, bit silly, bit fun. But I like the art, especially because these ones, it looks like they're all drawn quite quickly and coloured with markers. You can see it's Bisley inks. That's a very, like, you know, about as Bisley a Dredd as you can get. The bike is very Bisley. That's a badass bike. But it's cool to see, because often you'll see, you know, Bisley's inks and then usually very poor computer colours on top. Or, if you're lucky, you'll get his fully painted stuff. So it's cool to see him sort of doing in between, where he's, I guess, colouring it himself, which I say because it's mostly marker, but then you can see like this is painted in the background. There's washes and layers with acrylics and stuff. So he's obviously doing that himself. He's not going to just do the paint and then give it to someone else to do the markers or whatever. And, you know, with his typical spray paints and stuff added in, there's bits of collage and stuff here and there. I love a good collage. There you go, collage painting where it's all painted together. This bit looks like it may have been cut out and stuck on top, because you can see there's a faint white line, which I think would be where it was photographed, just catching the edge of the paper. So it looks like that bit was cut and stuck on, possibly, but it may have all been painted in one. Love the little paintings, as I always say, where it's blobby, but you get the details in. and he's left just enough shadows to like give real form to it, and he has like a strength to him in that, even in the tiny sort of figure. And then the bigger Dread there is really cool. Girls bums wearing tight pants and shit. And this is a really good example actually, where it's the marker pens, especially in this one here, but then that's painted, there's paint in there, especially on the flesh, paints to add highlights to the cheeks. So it's a really good combination of materials, multimedia that he's using there. Mostly markers with some paint for the highlights, and then that's painted. So you can almost picture him, sitting down, rough it out, get it inked, get the markers in, and then be like, oh, this one, it's a bit more of a bit more exuberant panel, so we'll get some paint in there with the spray paint and stuff. And this whole story is told in song, in rhyme and song, which is quite cool. And then this is all painted. That's painted. It's mostly all painted. It's really nice. I like that. I like the mixed media of it all. I also like that you can tell it's done quickly as well. Like there's very few refined bits, even in the place where there's more attention to like highlighting and stuff. You can see it's done quickly, and it's it's fairly blobby paint, single block colours, not too much shading, mostly. But it's cool. It's really effective and doesn't look like most other comics, especially if it's short action sci-fi comics. It's violence and cool artwork, and it's Bisley, so I mean you're literally getting what you're paying for. It's fucking Bisley. That's a cool panoramic shot. Dread being Dread. How dreadful. Cool, weird fucking dinosaur tank machine with chainsaw hands. That's good. And that's just literally a story about Dread being Dread. This one is a weird one about like some... It might be based on the song. I can't remember which... It's an old rock band did a song about some kid who was a pinball wizard or something. He was deaf, dumb and blind, so he's got no eyes, mouth or ears. And the whole thing is that he plays this pinball game and he's really good at it. That's a fucking killer Dread, man. With the lower angle on his head, that's really hard to get on just heads in general, like the low angle, to get the shape of the jaw right, to look like there's actual distance between the chin and the start of the neck. Like that's really tricky to get. And then the proportions of like the nose and where the eyes sit and everything. To do that, and then with Dread's helmet on top, is so difficult. I've tried to do it a few times. It's really fucking hard to do. But, the Biz is on it. Perfect, as he does. Painted again. This one's all painted, I think, for the most part. But then he uses coloured pencils a lot as well. And you can kind of see where it's a bit more scribbly. Those are where he puts the pencils in for these sorts of like lightning kind of lines. That's a really nice Dread, really chunky. I'd love an action figure like that. Just fucking chunky Dread action figure. Especially if they could make the bits that are green, the arm and leg pads and boots and pouches and stuff, out of some like rubber kind of material on the action figure, so they have a little bit of give to them, but they're still chunky as fuck. Really, really nice. And I love how it's not uniform. Like there's just, where he's pulling out the creases in the material, just sort of like weird lines and shapes, but it completely gives the idea of like, creases and shit in the material. Couple of really nice little Dread paintings there. And I do like Bisley's cartooning as opposed to just his artwork, because that's a funny cartoon face and these random people and stuff. And as I say quite a lot, I love the contrast between like really almost shit drawings of people running, like in a different context, like even in this context, that's not a great drawing of a person running. It's a silly little quick, just basic shapes, cartoon person running this way. That's it. And then he paints it in because that's all you need. Just do that, get that panel out of the way, and then spend a bit more time rendering Dredd. Get the shine on his helmet, which is really nice. The creases on his clothing. Put the effort in where it's needed, and then less so where it's not. And then this guy who's really good at pinball is almost too good at pinball, and then Dredd shoots him in the head. I guess for some reason, I don't know, it's been a while since I read it, if I even did read it. And this is a really odd, that's obviously pasted on. You can see it's like a piece of paper with the text on it that he's cut. But it's like, there's this weird line here, so I think it was meant for a different panel, where this would have been the panel border. And then he's cut it around the guy's head, but it was a square here. It's a really weird thing. I'm not saying I like it or dislike it, it is what it is. But this painting's really nice though. The green brain is a bit weird, but it's really, really cool shapes in there. The glasses are pretty cool. The neck coming detached and the teeth and shit. That's really, really nice. That really good movement to it. Yeah, movement. Spray paint, we like that. And then just stuff Dredd being Dredd. John Major was a Prime Minister in England at some point, so this is something based around that. And it's Bisley gets to be Bisley with his hellish fucking like Hell's Angels sci-fi flying bike gang. I really like that with the steel jaw. I love the textures he gets. Even in metal, it's hard to put texture in metal and make it look good, but that's really, really well done. Another mix of the markers and the paintings, which is really cool, especially because there's like some like Batman wannabe gang or something, and so this is quite old school Batman-esque kind of comics, with Dredd riding his bike like a badass, and then you get like the Bisley infusion of the guy with a steel jaw biting this fucker's head off, with spray and his eyes coming out and everything, all the veins in his neck. Really, really fucking cool. And then that is a fucking killer Dredd. Love that. And it's one of those weird things where it's like, fuck, I wish I could draw like that. But at the same time, if you really pay attention to it, the shapes are really basic. It's just about knowing where to put them, I guess. And having some kind of knowledge of like lighting and muscles and stuff of where everything needs to go. It looks like here, the arm almost looks too short, like the gun should be a bit further out. But then he used, it may have been intentional, of like, I mentioned it a little while ago, of somewhere, I heard it from somewhere else, of when in doubt, black it out. So if you don't really know exactly what you're doing here, or you can't quite make it work, just put it in shadow and it works. Because it's a gun firing, so there's the light going off here, so this would be a bit darker to the eye. So just that's in shadow, it's fine. It works. And then the scale of like the knee pad and stuff. That's really, really cool. I literally spent hours looking at fucking Simon Bisley's artwork. Blew his face out the back of his head. That's fucking cool. Someone else who's not Simon Bisley, so who gives a fuck. Another one about a biker. They do have titles and stuff. They're all on the front, but give a shit. Simon Bisley gets to do what Simon Bisley does. Cool metalheads on cool bikes. Skulls. Music. Fully painted is cool. No, Johnny, no. I guess the bikers are having a race and then Dredd intercepts. Bonks him on the head. There's guns. Oh, he shot him to pieces while he's driving away. All the rendering he put into that arm, almost unnecessarily. like, because that's a quick panel, so it's got like movement, so you could get away with just a few quick strokes to imply like the muscles and stuff in the arm, but he really went into it. And then there, fuck, he got the thinnest brush he has to do like all the tendons and sinew after he's been shot to pieces. That's so cool. I'd love to blow that up and have that as like a print or something. That's really cool. And then he drives off or crashes off the edge of the bridge. That's really cool. The lighting there. I think this is sort of somewhere of how I learned to understand that when you're painting like a double lighting effect, it's really easy to think, shit, where would the light fall? So where should I paint the light? But if you do it like this, all you're doing is painting what you would paint here, but just in a different colour. So instead of painting its skin colour, you paint it blue, put a bit of shadow in between the two colours, and it's a double lighting effect. Like, I saw something like this. I don't know if it was this specifically, but something like this. It probably would have been a Glenn Fabry piece, but that's when I understood, like, oh, so you're not painting where the light falls necessarily. You have to pay attention to that, obviously, but you're focusing mainly on just a different colour to give the impression of another light source. And then he crashes off the bridge. I like this because he obviously painted this separately, cut him out, and then used the negative space that he'd cut out as a stencil to paint this little like negative shadow or whatever of him falling. And that's a cool painting as it is. The bike and everything falling off. And then a follow-up to that comic by someone else. But we don't give a shit about that. John Hicklington. I showed this comic when I spoke about his book he did, the last book he ever did, in fact. Both am and am not a fan of his work, but, you know, it's whatever, I guess. Another Bisley. This one's sort of weird. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. They resurrect some dead rock star skull and bring it back to life. There's some cool paintings in here, some tits, Hitler, mad scientists, they're always fun to do. People digging in the desert, that's quite a cool painting. So is that, actually, where they dug up the skull. And then the skull, yeah, they revive it and it sings and people get blown away by the music. But Dredd shows up to shut it down. I like obviously there's been a few more, but where it's just the ink panel with like a splash of colour, usually for the blood, but it works. It's good shit. More of it there. This is a funny one. I think, I don't know if this has a date on when these were published. So in the 90s, 92 onwards. Okay, so this probably would have come after the Lobo Christmas special where he kills Santa. So it's basically that, but with Judge Dredd. I guess these, again, Bisley just going, I'll make them look like Bisley characters. I really like them, though. They see a blip on the radar, they shoot it down, and it's Santa. So they blow the fuck out of his reindeer. Santa Claus, shit. Ho, ho, holy shit. That's quite funny. The rockets are cool with the teeth and all. And then Judge Dredd to intercept. And you can see this is all markers and shit. This is no heavily rendered thing. Obviously, this is more heavily rendered. Maybe he did this page and was like, I can't spend that long on every page, so. And yellow on the boots and gloves. I don't know quite what was going on there. And you can see, I don't know how clear it is on camera, but that's obviously a really quickly drawn, just Dredd shape with the colours and stuff in there. It works for what it is. And I like that fact, and I think especially for another strip in here, it's clearly very quickly done. But you know, as people will say, that's really, really cool. Santa just having been shot to pieces from his bike cannons. And then he's painting on the boot, which is cool. I really love that shape. That's a really, really cool shape. I like that a lot, and the shadow in his face and everything. Santa Claus trying to carry on, but Dredd not having it. He dies. Cool silhouettes. And this is like partly good storytelling, like it's, you know, distant and dark, sort of moody tone to it. But at the same time, you could get those panels done so quickly. So it takes, you know, again, far less time to finish the comic. This one, I had to look a few times to check that it was Bisley. Because there's some really intricate line work. Like, he really put time into the inking of this one. Another mix of largely markers, but clearly with some paint here and there. The gag of this one is quite funny. They're at, like, I don't know, an airport or something, and this guy sets off the detectors, really wide guy sets off the detectors. So they have to strip search him, as they do, put on the glove to check in his anus. And they pull out flags and lots of flags, and then toys and all kinds of shit comes out of his backside. Plants. And this is all the stuff, yeah, like teddy bears, a parrot in a cage, a fish in a bowl, a shed, a bike, a shark, a surfboard, cowboy boots. And yeah, so this Dredd looks really different to, like, his other Dredds, to that Dredd even. It's got a really different feel to it. So I had to check that it was Bisley that drew this, because it's, you know, that's a Bisley cartoon bear, but, like, there are aspects of this that are and aren't sort of Bisley-esque. Yeah, what's up, Judge? That's quite funny. Pulled a rabbit out of his anus. And he doesn't speak English, so they can't communicate. And then a girl comes out, the lovely Debina comes out of his arse. And then, so they arrest her. And he's got a megaphone going, "Hello, is there anybody else in there?" And he's surrounded by tanks. "Come out with your hands up or we come in shooting." That's pretty funny. His asshole opening up. Really cool, like, rendering on this weird shapes. But just this wide guy full of stuff in his arsehole. I love all the lines and, like, the, you know, the double lighting just on there. That's really cool. That's a nicely drawn body. I feel like this one might be quite a bit later than some of the others. I think this is the last one in here. Yeah. Or the last Bisley one, at least. A very, very, very different one. They're in some Disneyland. Some guys warped to a Disneyland, Disney-esque cartoon land. So it's all goofy cartoons, you know, obvious, like Mickey Mouse and Bimba. Oh, Bimba instead of Bambi, and then, like, the Thumper Rabbit. Stonk, stonk, stonk. Stonk. But then this fucking weird, creepy guy with, like, a zip-on bell-end head. His balls hanging out from a phone, perv on his shirt, Muff Diver written on his chainsaw hand. He warps in and then shoots all of the animals because he's got a gun arm and a thing. And I like the contrast of, like, the graphic markers and stuff for all the cartoon characters, and he's put a little bit of painting into rendering this guy, which is cool because it gives a bit of contrast there. And then Dredd warps in to attack the guy. More great Dredd shapes. Dredd's really awkward to draw because there's so many bits to him, like the chain and the thing, and his shoulder pads are different. Getting his helmet right is really awkward. From, like, the sort of sternum down, I'm good, but it's so awkward to draw Dredd. But Bisley's a good one, isn't he? He's still fucking up the animals, and then eventually he does blam blam, shoots him dead. And, like, here you can see, I would happily believe that this was it 6 pages, 2, 4, 6, yeah, this 6-page story Could easily have been drawn in a day by Bisley, I reckon. You know, there's very few panels, like here, the background, just marker pen, colour, trees, whatever. And then like this, so he's got obviously a penis head. Like the shapes, he's just doing the most basic possible shapes here. Very little detail in the background. So I reckon this was all drawn so quickly. But like, it happens a lot of, you know, the stuff you draw rough and quick can often look a lot better than stuff you labour over and put all the work and all the detail into. And this doesn't necessarily look better than other strips, but it does have a really sort of fun, distinct style to it. And I do appreciate that. All the animals dead, full of bullet holes. Again, very obviously quickly drawn, but cool. And then some other shit. And that's me talking about fucking Bisley Dread for far too bloody long. Look at that, no cuts in this episode. Fuck it, just go long form. Make my editing job easier. But what the hell am I drawing? Is that a girl with tits? Some guy looking at a book on top of a girl with big tits? Yes. Oof, I've been talking a lot. I haven't quite... I hoped to finish this a little bit sooner, but evidently that's not going to happen. Where did I put the... Oh, there it is. I have a little note of the text. My friend Rams, as Ram something something with numbers on Instagram. I say he's my friend. He's one of those weird ones who I followed him for the longest time on Instagram, and then didn't realise for the longest time that he followed me for an amount of time. And then I found out he really liked my work and he'd mention me now and again. And then he fucking... Oh, give me a sec. Then he fucking... Where is it? Did this. You might have seen it on my Instagram. He drew that. Look, it's me on like a throne of ladies, of like butts. Me on a butt throne. Or like me, my guy, my mans, on a butt throne. He drew that. The throne. Like, that's fucking cool, man. This is the original piece. He sent it to me, which is really, really cool. And it's taking everything in me not to just screw it up just because it's funny. Because I do that with my own work. I don't give a shit. Whenever I get like nice things, I just want to go, right, this is going to get ruined eventually, so let's cut it off at the past, nip it in the bud, screw it up, but I won't, it's quite nice. But yeah, he drew that and it's really, really cool. And he said, when he posted it, he said this is also like a challenge to Ewan to draw something for me or whatever, you know, like a collab, but not quite a collab. Just, you know, he drew a thing based on me, so I draw a thing based on him. And for the longest time, I couldn't think of what the fuck I could draw, because he's got quite a distinct style in his art, but he draws a lot of different things. And so I can try and imitate his style, but that's not quite... Like, you know, why would you do that? Why would you imitate the style rather than just draw something cool? So I had this idea, because he's just... I think his Kickstarter got funded. He just did a Kickstarter for his art book, which he's bringing out, which should be pretty cool. Apparently it's going to be a couple of 100 pages, which is pretty fucking good. That's a decent-sized book. Especially if it's like good quality paper and, you know, a nice thick cover and everything. So it should be a fun fucking book. So I've got... So that's Rams. That's his name. Rams or Azram or whatever. So I had the idea, the hilarious, great, cool idea. So this is my mans, me, myself and my mans, chilling, reading Rams's book, rested up against a nice big pair of tits provided by this girl with big tits. Because that's what we like, lads, in here. Some nice fucking big tits. Good, my son. Nice fit birds, some nice big fucking tits. That's what we like to see there. Ooh. That's funny, innit? Tits. Tits are funny. And another sort of would have been nice to complete the drawing during this episode, but I probably won't, because I kept going, fucking hell this, and fucking hell that, and talking. It's really hard sometimes to talk and draw. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. There you go. There's your thing to take away from today's episode. Sometimes it's easy to draw and talk, sometimes it's not. Hands. Don't know what everyone's complaining about with hands. They're fucking easy to draw. I draw them all day. I don't give a fuck. Not exactly sure what I'm doing with her lower body. I don't know if I am doing anything with her lower body or just whatevs. That's a really long leg and a bum, because he's naked. He's always naked. He's a nature boy, is our sad little man. That's actually, it's one of my all-time favourite things in terms of like illustration or whatever that I've seen, is, you know, it's one of the few things that really stuck with me, is a Robert Crumb illustration of Mr. I don't know, it's Mr. Natural or Mr. Nature or whatever, that character, the old man with the long beard character, that's like this wise old man, but he speaks in really sort of simple terms with swear words and stuff. And there's one particular illustration of that, of I think it's him on a scooter, and then there's someone peeking over a garden fence going, Mr. Natural, what does it all mean? And then there's Mr. Natural on a scooter just pushing past going, don't mean shit. And that's like, you know, it's really dumb and basic, but it's one of those things that, like, if you stop to think about it, you're like, it doesn't mean shit. That's what it's all about. Which I think is the point of that little comic, that illustration, is, you know, everyone frets about the meaning of this or that, when ultimately it doesn't mean shit. Just get on and do whatever, because it doesn't mean anything. You can argue the point and say, well, actually, there's meaning here or there. But in essence, I think the point is, don't get bogged down in worrying about meaning and shit. Just do shit. Because it's all going to be dust in the end, isn't it? So I think the point I was trying to make there, as if there was ever a point. There isn't a point, because it don't mean shit. Was that I like to consider this guy as something like that, like a Mr. Natural nature boy. But he's also a piece of shit, and he comes from garbage, so he's just naked and like slobbish and slovenly. Just a piece of shit. But he's clearly creative and wonderful, and everyone loves him. But he is, you know, in tune with nature, and he understands you should be like a flowing river. If you come up to an obstacle, don't fret about this or that, how to get past it. Just be like a river, just flow around it. It doesn't matter. Which, you know, sometimes you're stuck and you have to figure out how to get past an obstacle, because, you know, otherwise you might not pay rent and you might be homeless. Which, maybe it's better to be homeless, but if you don't want to be homeless, then you have to fucking deal with certain things. But I think for the most part, there's a lot of things you can not necessarily have to fret about, and you can just be like a fucking, be like a river, the uncarved block. That's a Taoist thing. I learned that you should be like an uncarved block through life, allowing whatever happens to chisel away at you, to carve you into a being, as opposed to trying to force yourself into a shape. Just let yourself be moulded and crafted. Which, again, I agree with on a certain level and disagree with on other levels. I think you should be able to have some kind of input into, what you are. But I guess, that whole thing isn't to say you have no say. But yeah, like anything, it's just not worry about it. I don't know what the fuck. I haven't slept, by the way. I'm running on many hours now with no sleep. I've taken some caffeine pills, so you might have been able to tell I had a little bit of energy earlier on in the episode. It's waning now, and this episode's probably already longer than it needs to be. So I'm very tired. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing or saying. I'm surprised I've been able to draw anything, to be honest. I think this would be quite a cool little piece. Get that guy pink. I don't know if I will do anything for the background, but maybe make it look like a nice soft bed or something. Oh, I don't know. I should have ended the episode long ago, but what are we doing? I feel like I should end it on like a note where it's like, yes, that is clearly the ending, but I got nothing in terms of that. So, I'll just sit here awkwardly until I think of something to say to set a more official end to the episode. Again, no sleep, like none, literally. Very tired. And I'm trying to stay up as long as possible today so I sleep tonight, because my sleeping schedule's been terrible, and I'm trying to keep a better day and night schedule. So I'm trying to stay awake right now for at least the next few hours. At least until it starts getting dark. Then I can go to bed, hopefully wake up around the time it's getting light, and then manoeuvre my schedule from there. Oh shit, there we go. Here's a surprise. I finished all the art for Gun Viking issue 4, which means the entire book is basically ready to go. Surprise. Yeah, literally this last night where I wasn't sleeping, I finished the last double page spread. Do you want to see it? I'll do this, because it'll be up on my Patreon, so maybe you could screenshot that. I don't know. I'll put it up on Patreon, of course. There is now. I'm going to do a cover, a front cover. I'll put this here just so there's something to look at. I'm going to do a front cover for issue 4 for the PDF, just so there is, a cover for the PDF. And then part of that cover will be used for the book. So I'm going to paint a cover, and then issue 4 will be a complete issue, PDF on Patreon. Done. Cool. Then put all the book together and whatnot, and get that printed. So issue 4 will not be printed, at least not anytime really soon, because of costs and stuff. But all 4 issues will be in the book, which would be very cool. And that's, I think I'm too tired to actually be excited by it. So hopefully in the next couple of days, the feeling will hit me of like, I finished it. I have finished my Gun Viking book. Obviously, I've got more stories to come. But for now, the first full Gun Viking storybook the art's finished. I've got to paint a cover, tidy up a couple of other bits, but otherwise finished, good to go. So that's something to be happy about. Also, tits.